My name is David Harrison Greis. Welcome to the Greis Report, your unfiltered daily voice for truth. So today I would like to start off by giving a shout out to Andrew Savage and Nancy Richards of the Left in the Forgotten Borough podcast. They are another podcast based out of Staten Island, New York, just like me. Staten Island has a reputation for being all red because we are represented by Nicole Malliotakis, who is a known Trump fan. However, not all of us support that, and there is a huge resistance here on Staten Island. So I'm happy to be a part of that, and I think you should go take a listen to them. Again, that's Left in the Forgotten Borough. So let's take a listen to tonight's show. So number one, I want to start off with this whole debacle that's going on with Chicago because still mum's the word from Adams. I have looked and looked and looked. He hasn't really said too much, but Governor Pritzker is out there on behalf of Illinois, defending Chicago and defending the state of Illinois. There was an interview that was posted with him a couple of hours ago. This was from CBS's Face the Nation. I would like for you to take a listen to what Governor Pritzker actually says about Trump. Number one, he talks about the Posse Comitatus Act, which we'll get into right after you listen to it. And number two, I want you to hear what he actually says about invasion.
Illegal. Posse Comitatus does not allow U.S. troops into U.S. cities to do, to fight crime, to be involved in law enforcement. That's not their job.
If they're doing federal immigration work, a judge might say, if they're protecting those federal agents, that's okay. I mean, you'll just fight that in court as long as you can.
Well, National Guard troops, any kind of troops on the streets of an American city don't belong unless there is an insurrection, unless there is truly an emergency. There is not.
Have you been briefed by anyone in the administration about these plans?
No one in the administration, the president or anybody under him, has called anyone in my administration and me, have not called the city of Chicago or anyone else. So it's clear that in secret they're planning this, it's an invasion.
So the way that Governor Pritzker put that was very eloquent and very true. The Posse Comitatus Act prevents the U.S. military from being deployed on American soil, unless there is a true insurrection. And that true insurrection would have to be declared, and there would have to be proof enough for it, which there currently is not. So it would be a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. And in addition to that, it is a violation of states' rights, and it's just a dangerous precedent to set. It is an invasion. And we need to watch this very closely because New York is also targeted. So if you like what you're hearing tonight, please remember to like, subscribe. And down here, I have an email address. That's thegreisreport@gmail.com. Again, thegreisreport@gmail.com. Please send us any tips, leads, story requests. We're always happy to engage with you. We're also happy to boost your footage of protests or anything else that you might be encountering. And please do remember to hit that subscribe button. It really does matter. It helps our content get pushed out to a larger audience. And that's really what we want, is to get this news out there because the more complete picture that we have, the better. So thank you to everybody who's already subscribed. Let's continue. So next thing I want to get into is Trump has decided to go out on his own and pretend that executive orders in his delusional Delulu La La land are laws. And he's saying that he wants to put now in place an executive order to mandate, and I'll read from his little lie from his lie social here. Voter ID must be part of every single vote. No exceptions. I will not be doing an executive and I will be doing an executive order to that end! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Also, no mail-in voting, except for those that are very ill and the faraway military. Use paper ballots only. Donald J. Trump. I'm sorry, but dude, you do not have the constitutional authority to do that. There is no way in hell that you can do that. I'm sorry, but there's just no way it's happening. And if you want to try to use the National Guard to try to enforce this garbage law, the public will not stand for it. The public deserves the right to vote. That's our constitutional right. You cannot take that away just because you want to, just because you're crying about it, just because you're going to do 3 exclamation points about your executive orders. Executive orders, my dude, are not laws. They simply aren't. You do not have that authority. I'm sorry, but you don't. So final story of the night to conclude on. The ICE Gestapo here in New York, according to the Gothamist, are actually ramping up enforcement, which is in line with what Tom Homan's threats are. However, this has been an upwards trend. Initially, with their first encounters, they were chased off the streets because New York ain't having none of that garbage here. We don't abide by fascist dictators in this city, except for our mayor, but that's besides the point. They got pushed off the streets and they got relegated to 26 Federal Plaza, which is where you see a lot of those videos on social media circulating from 26 Federal Plaza in Manhattan. So they're out there in the back rooms of the courthouses, kidnapping kids and whatever else the ICE Gestapo are up to nowadays. But they are starting to go out on the streets. The running total so far since Trump took office was about 3,300. Which compared to the almost 200,000 in the nation seems like a small chunk of change. But just think about all those people that are going to be missing from classrooms in September, all those paraprofessionals who might have gotten swept up, all those nurses, all those children who will be missing from the classrooms, all those fathers who will never go back to working in a restaurant or going back to working in a construction site or going back to work at the business that they own. These are members of our community that are going to be missing, potentially permanently, because so many still remain unaccounted for. This is David Harrison Greis of the Greis Report. Thank you for joining the resistance and have a great night.